Hello, how you guys doing? Ping us? Yes, I should ping the Discord. At everyone, stream. It doesn't look like there's a bazillion things. So maybe read the ones that Gear gave us, then we'll read as much of the Godzilla NES thing as I can, because I think I did promise to do that. I'm gonna do my best to do what I promised as best as I can. So Gear from chat, not Gearmatic, but Gear from chat, has curated a list of SCP stories for me to read. Some of these I've heard before, like this first one. This is a one of the classics, and not Dr. Gears from SCP. I didn't even know that was a character, but sure. There we go. So this first one is a classic. It feels like it should be read. SCP 7000 deserves its own separate stream. We'll go ahead and put that in a tab, and oh my god, this is like a full-on website. Holy crap. Okay, yeah. All right. So if you haven't seen SCP stuff before, which I can't imagine that if you're watching this that you haven't, but SCP is a fictional, like, super organization. It's not like a I've barely seen SCP. So it's a non-governmental organization that, sort of like the Illuminati, kind of controls everything behind the scenes. They work for like multiple different governments, but they don't work for the government, kind of thing. And they try and get these weird, fucked up creatures and objects and try and keep them from being a problem. They have different classifications for each one. And I forget what they all are. It's been a minute since I've read these. There's safe, there's Euclid, however you pronounce this, and Keter tier. Does it have the tiers somewhere? This is all stuff that is independently done, so people can just add more stories, and if they're good enough, they get to stay. There's like thousands of them. Object classes. Safe. So safe is like literally you could put this out in the open and probably not cause any problems. You can possibly hurt someone with it though. It's just like, more than likely, you're not going to cause any problems by it being around. Euclid, Euclid? Don't know how to pronounce it. Need a little bit extra, like, protection, because they will cause problems, but, like, they're usually not gonna cause problems, but they're, like, they can very easily. Keter tier is, like, very hard to contain and also probably like hostile. Thamul, neutralize Apollon, Archon. These are all ones that I've not seen before. The object class FAQ. What is the lockbox test? Lockbox test is an informational guide to determine the object's most appropriate object class. If you can lock it in a box, leave it alone, and nothing bad will happen, it's probably safe. If you can lock it in a box, leave it alone, and you're not entirely sure what will happen, then it's probably Euclid. If you can lock it in a box, leave it alone, and then it easily escapes, then it's probably Keter. If it is the box, it's probably Thamul. If it can't fit in a box and is about to end the world, it's probably Apollon. If you could have locked it in the box but chose not to, then it's probably Archon. Okay. Keter tier actively wants to not be contained. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's gonna kill you, but yeah. So I guess Harry Houdini would be Keter tier. Most things don't go past Keter tier. They're few and far between. So this one is at that class where, like, if you don't fuck with it, you're probably okay, but it can be very bad for you. I wrote this one. Holy shit. I can't take any credit for the testing logs. I just did the base art. Wow. That is a fucking claim. Holy shit. Well, we're going to read it then. Thank you for writing it. Dev in chat. Special containment features. There are no special standard containment procedures on file for item SCP-294. However, only authorized personnel of security clearance 2 or higher are allowed to interact with it. So there's also different levels of security, as well as different testing people who mostly are like people on death row who are being just given to this organization in order to like test things out. So for some, like maybe you have to clean the inside of the cage or something. You're D class. You're gonna get killed. D class keeps getting retconned. All right. So I don't even know if that's true anymore. See document SCP 294A. SCP-294 is currently being stored on the second floor personal break room and is monitored by 2 guards of security clearance level 3 at all times. D-class cannon is kind of fluid at the moment. Weird. The cannon is super fluid, yeah. And I think that's fine. It's a shadow organization that I think even the people in it don't know all the information. So some people could not believe that D-class people exist. Maybe they don't have the clearance to do that. So I think, you know, fine. Item SCP-294 appears to be a standard coffee vending machine. The only noticeable difference is the being a touchpad entry with buttons corresponding to the English QWERTY keyboard. Upon depositing 50 cents of U.S. currency into the coin slot, the user is prompted to enter the name of any liquid using the touchpad. Upon doing so, a standard 12-ounce paper drinking cup is placed, and the liquid indicated is poured. 97 initial runs were performed, including requests for water, coffee, beer, soda, non-consumable liquids such as sulfuric acid, wiper fluid, motor oil, as well as substances that do not usually exist in a liquid state, such as nitrogen, iron, and glass. Each one returned to success. The test runs of solid materials such as diamond have failed. However, it appears that SCP-294 can only deliver substances that can exist in a liquid state. So iron can be liquid, assuming that you melt it, I guess. Can't diamonds be liquid if you just melt them? I don't know things. I'm stupid. It is of note that approximately 50 uses the machine would not respond to further requests. After a period of approximately 90 minutes, the machine seems to have restocked itself. It also is interesting to note that many of the caustic liquid soda eaten through a normal paper cup seem to have no effect on the paper cups dispensed by the machine. Testing is still ongoing. As suggested, SCP-294 has moved to the second floor personal break room as a money-saving venture. Following the incident of 294-01, guards were stationed at the item, and a security clearance is necessary to interact with it. On August 21st, 2005, Agent Joseph Blank attempted to use the item SCP-294 to obtain a coffee in his allotted break at 9:30. At the request of Agent Blank Blank to see what it would do, he began requesting a cup of Joe from the item. Moments after confirming the selection, Agent Joseph Blank began to sweat profusely, complained of dizziness before collapsing. After moving the unconscious agent from the infirmary, the medical team recovered the contents of the cup dispensed by the SCP. It's a scam. Joe is in the cup. After the unconscious agent was sent to the infirmary, the medical team recovered the contents of the cup dispensed by 294, dyslexic moment. the combination of blood, tissue, and other bodily fluids. Testing revealed the DNA sequence of the biological material dispensed by 294, matching that of Agent Blank, assumed Agent Joseph. This part I would rewrite, by the way. I kind of threw this out there, and there is some danger, but I look at it now, and it's sort of like skeleton popped out shit. No, I think it's fine, man. I think it's fine. I think it's great, you know? Like, the idea of this machine where it's like, there needs to be a threat. Like, don't fuck around with this thing. I think that they wanted to check and see what a Cup of Joe would do. Like, these are scientists. They're weirdos. They're gonna try shit like that. Like, what would Neil deGrasse Tyson do if you gave him any SCP? That's what I think, you know? Like, he'd call it boring? Sure. After reviewing the documentation of 294, Blank suggested testing its ability to receive specific liquids from a distance. With overseeing from O5 data expunged, a cup of SCP-075 secretion was used as an input. So, who is this? I have no idea what the fuck this is. It makes some sort of acid, it looks like. The product was proven to be the requested liquid, and the cup was able to successfully contain the material. However, the report for the incident 075-07 was acknowledged 2 hours after the test. The containment procedure breach had occurred exactly at the same time as the test was taking place, waking 075 to its active stage and was able to secrete an amount of basic solution equal to the captivity of a coffee cup before emergency containment procedures were applied and rendered passive. Liquid was not found in the post-incident investigation. Researchers punched in a request for a cup of gold. The machine dispensed a cup of molten gold. Researcher requested similar precious metals and received the same result. And so you said you didn't write all of this stuff, right? I think after this part, it isn't me. It's just random people taking the idea that liquid has to come from somewhere and running with it. Sure. Researcher punched in from a safe range request for anti-water. The machine hummed briefly, then displayed out of range on the entry pad. It's theorized that 294 has a limited range of collection and cannot reach outside of universes and dimensions. Punch in diamond, briefly hummed, then displayed out of range on the entry pad. It gives a result for all solid substances. Diamond is a solid crystalline form of carbon, which appears the machine will not dispense in liquid carbon, as it does not result in a diamond. When a cup of oh, that's the problem. I see. A cup of carbon was subsequently punched in. The machine dispensed a cup of liquid carbon. It was immune to the damaging effects of the dispensed liquid. Testing for the range of the capacity for retrieval has been initiated. A unique compound has been formulated composed of undisclosed ratios of blank bland bleach, and blank brand cola, met RX powder, garum Malaysia, and the fluid was created and placed in a sealed container 25 meters away from 294. When requested, the fluid was dispensed. An equal amount of the mixture was no longer present in its original container. You do realize that you have just sent all these viewers to just write test logs. It's actually kind of hard to get like testing logs or any edits, especially to one as like popular as this one, done anymore. Researcher Blank under observation of level 4 personnel keyed in a request for the best drink I've ever had. Dispense a fluid liquid similar to cola. The researcher identified it as a mixed drink he recalled having at a bar during his bachelor party. He was convinced it was the best drink. He did not know what ingredients were in the drink besides rum and cola. Further scheduled tests are to ascertain how it gains information. Under the same conditions, Agent Blank decided that he wanted the best drink I've ever had. It was a dark fluid topped with white foam, which was later identified to be Vienna Lager. The cup was printed with a color picture of 5 men and 2 women drinking a beer on a beach. Blank was one of them, and his briefing agent confirmed that his favorite drink ever was a Vienna Lager he consumed at a beach with his friends. It has now been confirmed that 294 has the ability to directly gather information from someone's mind in order to comply with given conditions. So if you put in Cup of Joe, but you're thinking about coffee, according to that one, you'll get coffee. But if you type in Cup of Joe, but then you think about a friend, you'll kill them. Subject keyed the perfect drink into the dispenser machine containing a odorless lavender liquid. After drinking the liquid, the subject appeared to go into shock, later committed suicide, saying, I'm sorry, but at this point, everything's just one big letdown. Requesting any such drink again is highly discouraged. None of the components of the drink have been yet identified. This is why it's not safe. That and the Cup of Joe incident. This is the vending machine. It was lean. Subject keyed something Cassie would like. The device was heard to hum for about 3 seconds before dispensing an empty cup. Printed on all sides of the cup was an image of traditional soda fountain glass filled with something brown and topped with whipped cream. Upon instructions, it was identified by her as a chocolate banana milkshake and judged delicious. It just... Okay. It's not liquid. She just liked the idea of it, I guess. Oh, wait. Oh, right. She's a drawing as well. Right. I forgot about her. Okay. Researcher keyed a request for a cup of music. It produced a clear, sparkling fluid that tasted vaguely alcoholic. Upon ingestion, a subject reported feeling and not hearing a continuous rhythm and demonstrated the ability to move and even dance with a certain fluidity they did not previously shown. Assessing on other abstract concept is continuing. During a mass security breach, Agent Blank requested a cup of pertinent medical knowledge while taking shelter inside the second floor break room. Of the 4 agents in the room, Agent Blank was the only one who was not injured. He poured a cup of green liquid. Following ingestion of the substance, he began mending the other wounds in a manner consistent with Foundation medical training. Agent no longer had the medical training that the liquid provided, and other attempts to recreate the effect have failed. The agent has speculated that the event of the emergency measure taken by the object in order to ensure self-preservation. Interesting. I mean, this is one of the better SCPs. Dr. So-and-so requested my life story from it, began humming noise and shook violently for 3 minutes, providing a highly viscous, opaque black liquid. Upon consumption, reported that he remembered everything that had ever happened to him. Following the tests, he entered his office and returned 48 hours later with a 538-page autobiography. Okay. A researcher produced a request containing solely the phrase, "surprise me." The device produced an opaque cup containing normal water. Later, it was determined to have been heated to approximately 200 degrees Celsius. Upon receiving vibration from transport, the contents of the cup turned into steam, violently spraying boiling water in a 2-meter radius. I used to stream a lot of SCP Containment Breach. Researcher produced the request for blood of Christ. It vibrated and produced the message, Hic est in calyx sanguineus me, and then produced a paper drinking cup containing approximately 0.12 liters of red grape wine. Yeah, we didn't speak Latin in church, so I don't know that one. Researchers produced requests for cup of Smilodon blood, cup of passenger pigeon blood, cup of Thomas Jefferson's blood, and received out of range 3 times. Class D personnel with an IQ of 99 and a low curiosity score was written instructions about what to request. The Class D personnel produced a request for blood of Canis lupus and received a cup of liquid subsequently identified as wolf blood. Class D personnel next produced a request for saliva aqueous ferris calibus, received a cup of liquid identified as horse saliva. Then he asked for urine of something, which is koala urine. Then they asked for cerebrospinal fluid of Ferrobus patternsi. A cup of liquid currently undergoing analysis. It is to be noted that it went extinct during the late whatever epoch, approximately 8 million years ago. So wait, it can get that, but not the Smilodon? Dr. King produced a request for a cup of room temperature superconductor and received a cup of apple juice with seeds floating in it. Assume that's a joke that I don't understand. It means it's alive, so oh wow. Yeah, I guess it could be alive somewhere. King always gets apple juice? Okay. Dr. King is an in-joke, I see. Dr. Minchu produced a request for a cup of D whatever's leukemia and received a cup of fluid. The fluid was microscopically examined and found to contain leukemic blast cells, which were a genetic match for D that guy. A request for a cup of so-and-so's leukemia resulted out of range error, and he was found to be subsequently free of leukemia. However, within 15 days, leukemia had reoccurred. Just keep doing that. Get rid of his leukemia, I guess. Bizarre-ass way to solve cancer, I guess. Neat. I really like that one. Yeah. I mean, that's your new way of getting rid of it. This one is titled Brazen Bull, but like worse by Gear. This one is safe. SCP-2128. Site 403 has been constructed around and inside the building that houses SCP-2128. At least 3 Class D personnel are to be present daily on site for experimental protocol 37 superfacule, in which case, which is to be carried out as needed. A list of statements to be used in episode 37 superfacule. Experimental protocol. I guess that's what EP stands for, not episode. That makes sense. Dr. Bright cannot make liquid mimetic orgasm from it. I see. Dr. Bright, Gear, and King are all memes. I see. So if they need to do the experimental protocol, one Class D employee, referred to as the messenger, will be laid inside of it. Messenger will repeat the statements as instructed from a prepared list. After each statement, if the messenger remains unharmed, the statement will be marked true. As soon as the messenger is incinerated, the new messenger will be provided. The statement will be triggered. Triggering the incineration will be marked false. New messenger will be assigned to repeat as needed. I'm sorry, what? Yeah, what is this? Is a vaulted stone furnace in the ruins of castle 23 kilometers from somewhere. The 2 openings are 1 meter high. The length is 3 meters. Documentation recovered on site, a sheepskin scroll known as the Ignis manuscript, revealed that 2128 was created by agents of the Brazen Heart in the late 9th century CE as torture. The execution device known as Liar's Cradle. When a human subject fully enters 2128 and makes a true statement, nothing will happen. If a spoken statement should be a lie, the human subject will be completely incinerated beyond unknown means. I see. So it won't kill you unless if you... So this is a good example of how something safe could be still lethal. Upon discovery, SCP-2128's 2 openings were covered with brick and mortar. The Ignis manuscript that indicates that 2128 was walled up in 1021 CE until it was discontinued. And its use was discontinued. This is due to a flaw in the method of lie detection. It considers all factually untrue statements to be lies, regardless of the subject's intention or prior knowledge. It has supplied knowledge on true false basicity of highly classified and previously unknown information. While the true scope of its knowledge and therefore reliability thereof is unknown, proactive usage of it has prevented the XK class of end of the world scenario on 4 separate occasions. Human race in danger of extinction right now. True. The danger comes from an item inside the Foundation's custody. True. A dangerous item in question is located in a site in North America. False. 6238 incinerated. New messenger 6239. Dangerous item is located at a site in Europe. False. New messenger redacted for brevity. So we go from 40 to 53. Keep guessing until we actually get to the one. Well, the Brazen Bull was a torture device, yeah? It's like, yeah, here we go. Except some dies. I think this is one of those ones that they never actually used. But the idea is that you light a fire under it. And when the person inside who's being cooked by it starts screaming, it kind of sounds like a cow mooing. It's highly unlikely it was ever actually used, as far as I understand. If I remember right, the guy who invented it brought it to the king and was so horrified they had him tossed inside. Cool. I think people even back in the day were like, what the fuck? The breach will contain within the next month. True. The breach will and containment will occur within the next week. True. The breach will and containment will be tomorrow. False. The breach and containment will be true today. Scramble order was given to MTF new 7 site blank secured. Containment breach averted. SK class dominance shift averted. SCP-2128 knows everything. False. Liar's Crater knows everything. True. The Liar's Cradle will tell us everything. False. The Liar's Cradle will tell me everything I need to know. True. The Liar's Cradle will tell the Foundation everything they need to know. False. Class D supply depleted. Procedure concluded for the day. Telling the Liar's Cradle a paradox is a dangerous to the Foundation personnel. False. The Liar's Cradle is going to kill me right now. False. He was partially incinerated at a lower temperature, resulting in permanent disfigurement. The Liar's Cradle is going to burn me right now. False. 10 seconds pass without incineration. He's withdrawn. He complains of a minor cut on his arm from a chunk of broken rock inside of it. Then he succumbs to rapid, previously undiscovered form of gangrene, then dies within a minute. Liar's Cradle is going to inflict personal harm upon me right now. 10 seconds pass without incineration. He begins to sob uncontrollably and then screams goodbye, steals a guard's handgun, self-terminates. He did not have any previous history of mental problems or suicidal tendencies. Right. Interesting. Liar. Okay. Golden retrievers are cute. False. Golden retrievers are ugly. False. Golden retrievers are tasty. Imagine that's what you sacrifice your life to find out. That this thing thinks that golden retrievers are tasty. Wait, what? That's fucking nasty. False. I'm a good person. True. Was a death row inmate convicted of cannibalism. Joke's on you, jackass. I'm apparently Mother Teresa. False. It's very literal. It's very literal. And it wants to murder you. Liar's Cradle is sometimes incorrect. False. Liar's Cradle speaks only infallible empirical truths. Liar's Cradle is hungry. The liar's cradle hunger can never be sated, no matter how full it becomes. True. Liar's Cradle would like to incinerate me right now. True. Liar's Cradle is growing impatient. True. Liar's Cradle sees delicious warm meat on its plate and would very much like to be fed. Liar's Cradle is angry that it is continuously denied its meat. True. People meat is delicious. True. I am delicious. True. My skin is warm. True. The crackling of fire upon boiling drips of fat and rapidly cauterizing flesh gives the liar's cradle pleasure. True. The earth is round. False. D-9230 is incinerated in a particularly slow, violent fashion. The site director believes that it has been mostly caused in part the fact that the Earth could be vaguely interpreted as dirt, and mostly because it doesn't appreciate taunts. Yeah, it's actually like kind of... I think that like this is one of those like, actually... Because it's like, the Earth is like a weird shape, right? And even egg shape isn't quite right. Like, it's very lumpy. You got mountains, an oblate spheroid. Sure. It's not perfectly spherical. Sure. Interesting one. I like it. The fact that you have to kill people in order to use it is really bizarre. I feel like using it for like, will there be a catastrophic extinction event? Yes. Okay. Let's get on that. Don't think about spiders is what this one is called. Or referred to. It is, so this is the most hostile one that we've seen yet. SCP-632, live in a colony, a live colony of SCP-632 is currently kept at a 20 centimeter by 40 centimeter by 20 centimeter sealed enclosure in the biological containment wing of Site-52. How big is that for American viewers? 7.8 by 15 inches, 16 inches, 7 by 16 ish. So it's not big. About a cubic foot? Sure. Both live and live and deceased. Sufficient amounts of prey, insects, and water must be administered weekly through a vacuum chute at the side of the enclosure. Both live and deceased samples of 632 must be handled by personnel wearing full body respiratory protective gear. Skin contact with SCP-632 instances is to be avoided at all times. Personnel reporting headaches, sensations of spider silk on skin, and intrusive thoughts about spiders. That's A safe object could be very deadly. I mean, like, the vending machine proved that. Like, if you go, like, I want a cup of, like, my own blood, like, you're gonna fucking die. Like, you should not bleed that much suddenly, you know? A safe object is only sometimes dangerous. What was the last one? Like, yeah, it's safe. See, this one's safe, but literally, if you get inside it, it'll fucking kill you if you fuck it up. The cradle is considered safe. There's nothing, it won't do anything. It'll just sit there forever, and it's been around for like 1,000 years, right? Like, not dangerous at all. This one you actually have to kind of pay attention to. And despite the fact that that one killed like 50 odd people in that one, in that story that we just read. Intrusive thoughts about spiders must submit to a MRI scan to determine the presence of SCP-632 manifestation. Affected individuals are to be sedated and remained before the onset of late-stage manifestation, and any newly formed SCP-632 instances are to be surgically removed. Uncontained instances of 632 in the wild are to be destroyed on site. 632 is a type of arachnoid that reproduce via unconventional means. Mature instances measure 10 to 15 millimeters in length and are highly social, living in colonies of around 500 individuals. While the exoskeletons of 632 instances are composed of a substance resembling calcified fat, the interior is almost entirely derived from a differentiated human brain tissue. 632 is unusual among arachnid species in that both male and female 632s are physiologically similar. Sexual organs of both appear to be more vestigial, likely a result of its reproduction methods. 632 reproduces by exposing a human host to an array of sensory triggers. Such triggers will include visual patterns of 632's abdomen, tactile sensation produced by 632 crawling on human skin, and several as yet unidentified chemical compounds released by mature 632 instances. Oh, okay. So if it touches you, you'll start thinking about spiders, and that's how it reproduces. And then your brain becomes spiders. Or if you see it. I see. I like that they have a picture of it here. This is a cognito hazard, yeah? How the fuck are you supposed to interact with this thing? 2 to 3 hours of following exposure to all of SCP-632's sensory triggers, affected individuals will experience mild headaches, sensations of spider silk on their skin, repeated intrusive thoughts about spiders. MRI scans at this stage of infection reveal the presence of hundreds of small filament-like structures measuring in 2 to 3 centimeters length, forming along the frontal cortex of the infected individual's brain. The mechanisms of the cellular differentiation is as yet unknown to the Foundation researchers, but it's similar to be the observed victims of 1204. Something else equally dangerous. The pressure exerted by the cerebral blood vessels by these structures causes headaches in affected individuals, localized towards the front of the skull. Repeating tapping on affected area causes the filament-like structures to release a large amount of endorphins, effectively alleviating the pain caused by their swelling. Growth of such structures can be halted by timely administration of Class B amnestics. However, while this method prevents the total of SCP-632s, so amnestics will make you forget things. That's fun. So if you can't think about them anymore, then they stop breeding. My love? Hi, cute stuff.
warm here.
It is. Nice. Oh, you're cold. I love you.
Okay, I have some work to do.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm streaming, so I'll be busy for a bit. Will you take this one?
Sir?
Thank you. Love you, cutie. I like her. She's cute. Where were we? Right. So yeah, if you take drugs to make you forget, then you stop breeding the things in your brain. However, while this method prevents the total SCP-632's manifestation from occurring, it does not cause the existing symptoms to abate. As 632 manifestation progresses, affected individuals will experience gradual thinning of the anterior brain lining and skull as bone, muscle, fat tissue is gradually incorporated into a filament-like structures of the frontal cortex. 6 to 7 days following initial exposure, headaches experiments experienced by the afflicted individuals will sharply increase in intensity and duration. This is due to the filament-like structures having already developed fully into instances of juvenile SCP-632s. So I guess, like, the way you contain it is you get anyone who's cleaning it to immediately take drugs to not have any idea of what they just did. So, like, it doesn't stop the symptoms. Yeah, it stops it from progressing, though, right? So it can't turn into spiders if you, like, if someone, like, goes in there, cleans the cage, then immediately takes drugs to make them forget, then they're fine to do it again. You'll still have the headaches and sensory issues. Yeah. I don't know. If you work at a place like this, you probably already have that. That's fine. It's like, why don't they kill the spiders instead of keeping them? Maybe we'll get to that. Maybe they can't. As a manifestation, I mean, I guess you'd have to know about them, think about them, and then do that. How the fuck do they even contain this shit? I guess they have to be in physical contact? It's secure, contain, and protect. I mean, we got, like, instances of the Black Plague, like, in facilities still. Yeah, you just get some D-class guys to constantly go in there and take drugs until they're, like, fucked up beyond all measure. Every time they're like, what are we doing today? Well, this is the first time you're doing this. You need to go and clean the inside that cage. And they're like, oh, man. That's wild. Midnight Fox, you're here. Okay, I need to ask you a question, right? Are Legends models available to be used in tournament settings? I'm sorry. This is an argument from like a week ago or something that I had with a dude on the internet. And I know you like Warhammer, so you'll know the answer to this too. Depends on the tournament. Okay. Okay. Fair enough. What was the model? It was a Lord on Plaklin of Nurgle or whatever. It wasn't like, it's not even a great model. I generally say yes or no, but I know that ITC doesn't use them. That's kind of the thing, is like, I'm pretty sure GW doesn't use them either. But he was saying that, like, this is not relevant at all. But he said, what was it? SoCal. He was like, oh, it's not explicitly in the rules, then it's not available. I'm like, who the fuck would do that? Anyway, sorry about that. I just saw you in chat. And I'm like, I gotta ask someone because when I asked in the GW's ITC rules now, see, I couldn't find it in the tournament packet for SoCal or the GW one. They're legal for open play, but are banned in official tournaments since they're not consistently updated. That's truly what I think too. Like, most of the time, they're not allowed. Is it explicitly written on the rules on whether or not you could piss on the board or not? No, it's not. The Plaquelin of Nurgle. It's like a guys carrying a thing, I think. Usually, Warhammer is a permissive rather than... Warhammer is a permissive rule set. Yeah, rather than exclusionary. So, I mean, like, you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to be told what your available options are. Let's see. All right. Enough about that. Thank you for answering my question. I don't like the answer. That's what basically we came to, and I was like, no local tournament's gonna allow this shit. It's like, well, just so you know it's legal. I'm like, okay. I don't even know what the fucking thing does. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I think he wanted just something cheap to fill a Force org. He was playing Death Guard. It pisses me off is what it does. It does, yes. That's what that model does. It pisses me off that he thought he could run it. Let's see. Anterior brain lining of the skull muscle. Okay, filament-like structures affected individuals will at this point tend to apply increasing force to their foreheads in order to release enough endorphins to reduce the pain to tolerable levels. Eventually, most affected individuals end up fracturing their own skulls through accidental application of excessive force, at which point about 80 to 200 instances of 632 will exit the brain from the weakened point of the forehead. Complete 632 manifestation is usually fatal. However, if promptly attended to by medical personnel, 86 of hosts in the final stage of 632 manifestation do survive, albeit with permanent decreased motor function, reduced impulse control, and severe arachnophobia. Yeah, if I had spiders coming out of my brain, I'd freak out as well. That'd be fucked. Entire town of blank was discovered, reportedly found bludgeoned to death. Rapid response team discovered numerous 632 supercolonies throughout, each compromising thousands of individuals. Supercolonies were thought to sustain themselves on swarms of flies attracted by the decaying bodies of villagers. 106 dead, 23 injured. Wang Zi, a employee of the Ministry of Agriculture, collapsed at a clinic in downtown Shucheng after reporting having suffered from chronic headaches. Wang fractured her skull against a concrete wall, resulting in numerous 632 instances breaching her cranial cavity and causing 28 people to be exposed to sensory triggers. The resulting manifestations were not detected. That's so fucked up. Man, I've got a headache. And then she just starts banging her head on the wall and then spiders come out. The resultant manifestations were not detected until later, when 16 of the infected individuals had already managed to expose 291 more individuals to SCP-632. That's like body horror. I love it. In 2001, Li Zinting, 86-year-old woman living alone, was found dead by social workers in her home with her eyes missing. Although her body was not in a state of advanced decomposition, the autopsy revealed that almost 100% of her brain was absent. Foundation agents embedded in the pathology department of Blank Hospital gained access to the scene and discovered a SCP-632 colony residing in the ceiling board above Lee's bed. It was theorized that Lee had been rendered bedridden, repeatedly exposed to 632, resulting in almost all of her brain tissue being converted into 632. Instances were apparently exited her skull through her eye sockets as Lee was too weak to fracture her own skull. Wonderful. You ever have problems? Like, you ever think about, man, I just really wish that I didn't have to think about things? Well, guess what? You could. With spiders. Replace your depression with brain spiders. SCP-2901. This is for the monster fuckers out there. Because of the extra-dimensional properties related to SCP-2901, there are currently no methods of physical containment. Case reporters involving 2901 will be remitted to the MTF. Speaking of monster fuckers, tomorrow is the next episode of The Town of Nowhere. You can be involved. You can be there for that. It'll be good. Pogfish. I think it's gonna be pretty good. I gotta do can we fuck monsters? You can attempt to like court them, you know? I'm not gonna show anyone fucking a monster on screen, but you can attempt to get with them. That's totally fine, sweetheart. If you need to if we need to order food or something so you don't have to worry about it, like, that's totally fine as well. I love you, sweetheart. You're supposed to say who knows, tune in, find out. You know what? Maybe there's monster fucking next time. Who knows? I don't. We have lots of leftovers, which is yummy. Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure you had that option, so that way if you didn't want to deal with shit, that's totally fine with me. All right. Civilian sightings of SCP-2901 suppressed using amnesic field applications. Media leaks regarding 2901 will be deleted or discredited by the Information Detraction, Censorship, and Recession Division. Field personnel should avoid 2901 if all possible. Those authorized to investigate 2901 must carry mobile devices capable of short message services, SMS, in cases of sudden acoustic cancellation. If hostile encounter is to be avoided, personnel must adhere to the following steps. Do not attempt to run. Fleeing may provoke 2901 to give chase. Hold your ground. Be sure to make eye contact. Make a threat display. Use clothing to intimidate and increase body mass. Continue step 3 until 2901 becomes disinterested and submits. Avoid physical contact if at all possible. Wield or throw objects to maintain distance. Due to the fluctuation of 2901's mass, any physical connection made between the entity and the victim will result in intersecting membranous contact. This phenomenon usually results in removal of the dermal layer along with the contact area along the contacted area as 2901 reacts or retracts. And that's an image we're not looking at. SCP-2901 is a species of nocturnal carnivorous scavengers of limited intelligence, averaging in 1.7 meters in height. That's about as tall as a person. SCP-2901 usually appear having ellipsoid shape and possess 2 large eyes, layers of photophosphoric tissue, 2901 are covered in a layer of minute, indiscrete lemur scales, similar to whatever the fuck that says. Large order of insects that includes moths and butterflies. 2901 are able to move through space and time freely, granting them certain abilities such as levitation, flight, and teleportation. 2901, however, are tangible and susceptible to conventional firearms. 2901 is also able to emit acoustic canceling effect within the radius of approximately 25 meters. The purpose or function of this ability is not wholly understood, but theorized to aid in stealth. Several methods of containment and/or deterrence are being considered. However, because of the elusiveness of 2901, a large majority of the general public are aware of related incidents and possibly even the existence of 2901. Countermeasures are in place as a temporary solution for protecting information on 2901. Level 2 access required. Oh, that's cute. Operation Surgeon's Photograph. Due to the uncontainable nature of and general notoriety of 2901, certain protocols must be established in order to quell civilian suspicion as the existence of these entities. Following is an outline of Operation Surgeon's Photograph that should be reviewed with your respective teams. Due to the nature of Operation Surgeon's Photograph, the information regarding it does not require additional safeguards against espionage. Information about SCP-2901 will remain accessible on Foundation main list database. Standard protocols for sensitive information access, clearance, and storage still apply. Utilization of automated virtual agents already in place for certain keywords relating to 2901 will routinely be searched and red flagged on daily reports. Pages will be reviewed by selected teams as they are discovered and remitted to tactical planning teams to determine the severity and the next course of action. Tactical planning team will review suspect files, pages, and make decisions and recommendations regarding pertinent threats. Dozens of online dummy accounts for media sharing websites are to be created and managed by IDCARD's special cyberspace unit using dummy accounts. Contents regarding the presence and/or glorification of 2901 will be made widely available. This is to saturate any shared leaked footage or images with fabricated disinformation content. Content will developed and published in a variety of mediums related to 2901, including fictional stories, doctored photograph images, visual semi-realistic art, falsified eyewitness interviews, merchandise. The Foundation front company Studio City Productions will be contracted to create several low-budget documentaries involving 2901, while including other well-known cryptids from folklore. This will further aid in convincing the general public that the existence of 2901 is highly questionable and in all likelihood impossible to validate. Required deletions. Any source material of 2901 deemed too sensitive to be accessible to civilians will also be addressed by the Special Cyberspace Unit. Standard protocols for denial of service. When did she say DDoS? I guess DDoS is direct. What's the extra D in DDoS stand for? Distributed denial of service attack. DOS operations will be carried out to isolate the source. After the source is isolated, efforts will be made to erase the original content. Any information regarding the original poster of the material will be handed over to the MTF Phi 5 Twilighters for further investigation. In all cases, services will be restored once the material has been erased. Any DOS operations in excess of 24 hours will need to be reported to the Department of External Affairs. Operation Surgeon's Photograph will continue until a viable method of containment or deterrent of 29 is in place. Virtual agents will continue to search for keywords related to 2901, and these will be included on month-end reports and reconcile at the end of the quarter. Content made during Operation Surgeon Photograph will remain accessible. So just like spam the internet with fake versions of a real thing. I always thought it meant dedicated. DOS is one source, whereas DDoS is a bunch of sources. I see. Interesting. Y'all are smart and know things. Why do you come here? The first documented incursion of 2901 was near the town of Blank Blank, West Virginia, USA in 19-something, following the collapse of a bridge. That's the story. Since then, continued field observations have concluded that SCP-2901 are aggressively territorial and solitary species. 2901 normally do not engage or reveal themselves. Nick Nocturne of Nightmind does SCP videos, and the guys on SCP have admitted that while in universe they recognize him as an alt-universe cat demon persona, the SCP does not include him because they don't rate him as a threat. That's cute. That's really cute. Further observations suggest that 2901 are able to approximate the time and location of future disasters with a certain degree of accuracy, particularly those resulting in multiple fatalities. Precognitive ability is believed to be a physiological sense of comparable scent data variables given within a decent area versus the total fatalities after the disaster occurs. False positive incursions, though rare, have been observed. Went to high school in a town where they filmed the Mothman movie. For some reason, they filmed it in PA instead of the state the original book took place in. Come to Rev Streams to get smarter to help out Mike Streams. Mike Streams say smart stuff too, right? I'm sure. Usually streams right about when I'm streaming, so I don't see him all the time, but you know. Yeah. I come to Rev Streams because he's a cool dude. Why would you come into this chat and lie? It's 50% come and 50% feet in Mike's chat. Okay. During this period, 2901 will claim rights to an area, resulting in altercations with other 2901, sometimes including human bystanders. Bystanders being mistaken as threats. During these aggressive territory behaviors, 2901 are able to change their physical shape into a large nebulous-like body as a threat display. After the disaster event occurs, the remaining 2901 will take part in feeding off the deceased in a frenzy-like behavior until food source is depleted, vacating once satiated. Priority Gimmel. Surgeon's photograph can be considered one of the special containment procedures for 2901, and it is to operate under the guise of an active public disinformation campaign. MTF-55 will be responsible for continuation and level of effectiveness in maintaining acceptable levels of public awareness and conception. At the point of clarification, the purpose of Operation Surgeon's Photograph is not to protect information on SCP-2901, but rather control information on 2901. Current location, or current evolution, is the sum of the Foundation's efforts in manipulating its existence through public perception. SCP-2901 are a group of extra-dimensional entities that lack stable, cohesive form and purpose, and only coalesce through continued observation and recollection. For 2901 to maintain a stable physical mass, approximately 75% of nearby humans, populace within 500 kilometers, need to be congruent on a single concept of what it is and what it does. When they were first discovered and categorized, it is highly unstable, Keter class entities capable of producing localized CK class scenarios at random. Further research into SCP-2901's unstable manifestations proved to be as futile as, unbeknownst to the Foundation scientists at the time, 2901 would involuntarily change during each subsequent observation. During the containment breach into civilian populated areas within the Appalachian region of the southern United States, 2901 gradually condensed into a singular manifestation the more it was exposed to humans. Civilians began conceding to the idea that 2901 was a dark winged-like humanoid with large red eyes, which corresponded to pre-existing local folklore. 2901 also began to evolve predatory-like behaviors and anomalous acoustic effects that conceptualized due to the mass fear generated within surrounding communities. This is great. Yeah. So once everyone knows of Mothman, then it just becomes Mothman because it doesn't know what to do with itself anymore. Foundation researchers recognized the efforts and began isolating 2901 as much as possible. However, deprived of regular perceptual input, 2901 begins to devolve into its initial highly unstable manifestations once again. The decision was made to maintain SCP-2901 in functioning manageable state through continued exposure to human perception belief that 2901 is tangible creature of local folklore. Another Bigfoot or Loch Ness Monster, the nearby Silver Bridge collapse in 1967, and the 2901 Appalachian incursion in reality have no connection to one another. However, the public opinion strongly disagreed, and henceforth 2901 began to appear in other future disaster events. This is the precursor of the precognitive scavenging animal-like behavior that is observed today. Efforts to continue gradually inducing notions developed by the Foundation to further SCP-2901's evolution into a more docile, manageable concept. Only Foundation personnel of Level 4 current clearance are permitted to view this document. For all intents and purposes, all other personnel are included in actively contributing to 2901's perceptual evolution. It is pertinent that this document be limited to no more than 50 persons, including O5 Council. Hey, Rosophile. I hope that maybe you can read some spooky stories and it'll be less bad. Oh, this is a new one. It's got like fancy stuff. Disruption class and risk class caution. These are new to me. I don't know what these mean. I don't know what disruption class VRAM. Welcome to the 6000 series. I guess it's a further different. Oh, okay. Hold up. Okay. Low potential to disrupt the general population. Disruption is typically confined to locality. Okay. And then its risk class is caution. So low level risk. A 2-kilometer quarantine fence has been established around the village of Smolensk, Poland. Got it. One go. Foundation personnel to monitor the village and surrounding lower Celestine Forest for any individuals attempting to enter or leave the enclosure. Civilians found attempting to enter are to be apprehended and turned over to local authorities. Cover story 6198.10. Conservation of endangered species is to be disseminated. That word means darkness, by the way. The town name? Darkness, Poland. Got it. Instances found within the darkness are prohibited from consuming any SCP-6198-Bs. Usually you have subclassifications if you have things where it like spawns extras. Any individuals, including Foundation personnel, witnessing witnessed procuring or drinking any substance suspect of being SCP-6198-B without clearance from a level 4 security personnel are to be immediately apprehended, interrogated, and estimated, made to forget before their release after a 24-hour period. SCP-6198-A resides within a village and has been observed and suspected of performing any of the following activities are immediately apprehended, interrogated, and held in the Foundation custody indefinitely. Suddenly speaking a language that isn't descended from Proto-Slavic or Common Slavic, alluding to knowledge of the Foundation and any of its operations or any other SCP, performing thermophagic rituals towards the Foundation personnel. Foundation personnel are advised to avoid entering the village during periods of time between new moon and full moon, the waxing periods specifically if necessary. SCP-6198 is a extra-dimensional entity believed to be a god worshipped in the 6th and 12th century plebeian Slavs known as Chernobog, the Black God. Its anomalous effects are currently isolated in the Village of Darkness, primarily in the form of SCP-6198-A instances and any SCP-6198-B found there. Magnitude of any effect and strength of SCP-6198 presence in the world is tied to and supported by two factors: the number of devotees that worship it, the size of the collective consciousness contained within 6198. Okay. And individuals that were born in darkness up until the Foundation's intervention had regularly consumed SCP B and A. Instances appeared non-anomalous. However, life expectancy of the village is notably higher than the surrounding area, and in addition to this, elderly SCP-6198-A residing in the village exhibit the vitality of someone half their age. So B is a liquid, A are people who live in this town. B refers to a black liquid that is anomalously appears within the village and can only be selfly consumed by 6198-A instances. Holes created in the soil in darkness that are at least large enough for a human to pass through transform into C instances, appearing as a deep pit with the features of a opaque entry point. To date, the endless supply of bees exists at a uniform depth of 20 meters within SCP-6198-C instances. So the black liquid appears in the holes. The total depth below the 20 meter point is currently unknown. I wonder why the god is called Chernobog instead of Sinarbog. Because that would be the Polish form. Probably because the person who wrote it is an American, and doesn't know shit. Holes created in the soil within darkness are at least large enough for humans to pass through, transform into C instances. Wait, what? I thought C was the hole. Despite this, the depth is totally unknown. No, it's not. The hole and the SCP-C is different. Okay. C instances appear at midnight on nights of the new moon and remain until midnight of the following moon, roughly 14 days, where they revert to the state that they were in before transformation. It was originally discovered in a dormant state. An incident in which a member of the Foundation personnel went missing in darkness has since caused 6198 to enter a more active awakened state. It's believed that it remains within that state. Since becoming active, A instances, the people that live in the town consume the liquid in order to gain knowledge of the Foundation operations personnel and the SCP known to the Foundation. The people inside the village with this knowledge have extreme tendency to engage in hostile ritualistic activity directed towards the Foundation and or attempted to covertly isolate and subdue Foundation personnel. As such, any future testing on D-Class with SCP-61, so the water, as well as any explorations into the hulls have been prohibited by order of the O5 Council. SCP-6198 is believed to reside in the darkness despite there being no visual confirmation of it. However, sightings of a large black humanoid figure have been reported by the Foundation personnel within the darkness during nights of the waxing moon. It was originally discovered in the Foundation surveillance team's detected radio chatter regarding the hulls, or the things in the hull, maybe? It seems like it's the darkness of the hull, specifically, rather than the hull. They were discovered by local authorities while investigating a missing person report in the surrounding lower forest region. Upon entering the village, local authorities covered several hull things and arranged for the support team to venture down them. Foundation agents were dispatched and relieved local authorities of their investigation under the guide of ISA, Internal Security Agency. Foundation agents first noted that SCP, the people were wary of them, generally keeping their distance and observing their activities from their homes, but otherwise not appearing hostile. Communication with them proved difficult initially, as a majority of the village speaks Proto-Slavic, a precursor to Common Slavic, believed no longer to be used by within modern society. Foundation linguistics expert was later brought to facilitate interviews with them in order to translate any documentation retrieved within the darkness. Initial exploration. Oh my god. There's a lot. Following transcript is audio and video recording made by Foundation agents Karmazkas Nowak and Maria Bakula during the initial exploration of the village of Semesk in the 1st of October 2019. I love that these were probably done like in that year or so, and now like it's been a few years, and so it'll reference like 2001 being a fairly like W in Nowak is pronounced like a V. Novak? Okay. Camera footage of Agent Bakula's body cam shows both agents approaching the remote village of darkness. Its dilapidated wooden buildings are enclosed on all sides by a thick screen of trees. No sign of electricity, no roads, no vehicles. This must be the place. Both agents pass through the threshold of the village. Several people are seen working or conversing with each other. They start to quietly alert each other as they notice the agents. Some abruptly stop their work and quickly retreat into buildings. Not the warmest of welcomes, is it? Doesn't surprise me. If what the police claims checks out, they tend to keep to themselves. I don't even think they speak Polish. Police report states that the potential anomaly is located in the cemetery. Novak and Bakula make their way through the village, passing several ruined houses from which people are occasionally seen peering through the gaps in the walls. Hushed, unintelligible speaking can be heard from inside the buildings. What happened to this place? Why are people still living out here? They approach the cemetery. Its perimeter fence is decorated in makeshift hierograms. Recognize any of these symbols? No. Best guess is some sort of superstitious wording to keep the dead inside the cemetery. Yeah, maybe don't say it's superstitious when it might actually be fucking real. This one was written in this year. Oh. Okay, well, there you go. Bakula pushes open a metal gate and enters the facility. Agents produce what appears to be an open grave. Novak pulls out a flashlight from his jacket pocket, shining down into the hole. The area around the entry point is illuminated, while anything beyond the entry point remains black. Seems as though any light gets absorbed. Hard to tell whether or not it's black here the black here is solid or liquid, or how far down it goes out. Keep an ear out. I drop a stone in. Stone passes through the blackness without disturbing it. After a few seconds, a splash is heard. Interesting. So there's liquid down there. Worth further investigation. Let's head back and call in a support team after checking with the locals. Camera turns back towards the village. Multiple figures hiding are seen quickly moving out of sight. Jesus, you see that? No, what? I just caught at least three people hiding in view as I looked up. Let's not stick around any longer. We need to. One want to overstay or welcome. Agents leave the cemetery and head back towards the center of the village. Makula leads the way towards one of the rundown houses. She appears to knock on the door as she nears it. The same hieroglyphics are seen on the cemetery appear etched on the door. 20 seconds pass. I know someone's in. I saw them peering through the window of the cemetery. Through the window from the cemetery. Have you seen that picture of Biden with BTS? No. I might have to stop in a minute because I think, yeah, I've got a list already ready, but I will take more recommendations in the future. I think maybe what we do is I do a little bit more and then I probably call it just because I don't want to blow out my voice too bad. I hate being like this. I don't know why my throat gets like this, but if I read for too long, potentially like an hour and a half. I know, and we didn't read any of fucking the NES Godzilla. We have to make it next week then, because I'm pretty damn sure you're right. I'm pretty sure I did promise it. I've got NES Godzilla right here. Do we even bother reading, like... How long is it? Multiple chapters? Really long. It's low-key very long. Well, this is a page, right? Or a chapter? Part 2, Chapter 5, Chapter 1. Chapter 8 is the finale. So it's like 10 pages of about this length. So we could do that. We could start it and then stop it. Save it all for one stream? Yeah. I think that's what we're going to have to do, man. I really do. See. Good evening. I'm Agent Bakula, and this is A Face Interrupts with a Rasp speaking an indistinguishable language. Polish. Can you speak Polish? Face of the door continues to speak an unknown language before closing the door. Looks like we need a translator, too. I can't say I'm familiar with your language. Not definite. Sounds old, though. Really old. How would you know that? All right. There's something I want to check out on the way out. Let's head back. Make their way back to the village, through the village, with instances continuing to watch them from a distance as they near a well. He removes his flashlight and shines it down the well. As I thought, the well exhibits the same properties as the open graves. Keep an eye out for me. Oh, wait, why? Grabs a rope attached to the well's winch and starts hoisting until a bucket rises into sight. Careful, it isn't water, it's black. Hands the bucket, tipping its contents into the well. Runs just like water, no scent either. We need to get out of here. I think the entire village is watching us. Shit, yeah, time to get moving. Agents are begin walking at a pace out of the village. They begin to gather around the houses in front of them, watching intently as they pass by. After leaving the village, they turn to see a crowd watching them from the village threshold. Is it just me, or did everyone look at least 50? Yeah, the one tailing us looks about 90. I'm impressed he's able to keep up. We're being followed? Yeah, just one, I think. Car's another 10-minute walk, so be on your guard. To traverse the dense forest with Wakula regularly turning to see the pursuer standing stationary watching them, roughly 20 meters away each time. The agents eventually break out from the forest tree line onto the road. They continue to walk along the roadside for a minute before approaching and entering the parked vehicle. I noticed this on the table outside the woman's house, by the way. I managed to pocket it while you were talking to her. An old leather-bound book. Novak passes an old leather-bound book over to Bakula. She opens and been flickering through the pages. Images of hieroglyphs, religious practices, humanoid figures appear crudely drawn throughout the book's contents. I can't read any of this. Looks like some kind of Bible, though. This must be written in whatever language they're using. You looked through this yet? Not a chance. You see something? The hieroglyphs we saw in the cemetery are all over the place. Just a recurring depictions of some kind of shadow or specter as well. Kind of ritualistic sketches too. We'll get a translator on it. Could be we have type blues on our hands. Novak starts the car engine and begins to accelerate slowly. Old guy kept on us. Check it out. Turns out the window to see a pursuing guy leaning out from behind a tree watching them. The hell? Maybe he regularly marches through the wilderness to peek out at the roadside from behind the tree line. Sure, just like every other spry, well-adjusted elderly person I know. Yeah, I don't think I want to like play the game and do that backwards. That doesn't sound fun to me. I think it would be better to do it the other way. So here's the book. And they gave it to a linguistics expert researcher, Albin Iskar at site 120 translation team. Director Vimvov. Let me start by saying that despite my extensive knowledge of the history and the origins of the Slavic language, this is the first time that I've encountered what appears to be a Proto-Slavic written in form from its direct descendant source. This is truly fascinating discovery. Initial progress on translating the text was slower than expected. There's something about linguistic structure of the language that, for reasons I can't fully deduce, make it incredibly difficult to retain the knowledge of. For every few words committed to memory, it's as if one dissipates from it. It's as almost I can feel a sense of reluctance coming from the language itself. Eventually, I was able to solidify my understanding by picking up various passages throughout. I can confirm that the contents of this book hold a great deal of religious significance, not only to the those in the darkness, but throughout all Slavic cultures, dating back to roughly the 4th century. The guy's last name means spark. Gotcha. Well, there are references to more well-known Slavic gods, such as Punrun, which we strongly suspect to be SCP PL-231. PL? Oh, I have no idea what the fuck this says. Oh, is this the Polish version of the SCP Foundation? That's cute. That's cute. I like it. That's cool. So there's probably some really good ones in there that Americans don't know about. Let's see. Well, references the well-known, okay. And Vevels. The book primarily focuses on one of the more sibling successor gods, Chernobog, the Black God, detailing various prayers, rituals, and tenets that followers of the Black God should live and practice. I've highlighted sections of experts of notable interest that may shed some light on the occurrences witnessed by Foundation personnel. Then we got that. For it is him where the dead must go and return to the roiling abyss from which our forms are molded to be one again with him. In this, we share the fathomless knowledge and learn of untold, forgotten epochs, unfurled mysteries of Stygian transcendence bestowed with the blessings beyond death. The darkest hour on the darkest night, with the lamented dwelling howls, shall hypogean thresholds unveiled and twining submerged departed. What? Now relinquish the tethers of corporeal and sustained amidst blackest water, become one with the perennial ancestry and granting insight to those adherent. So the water is like liquefied human consciousness, maybe? There are those who turn to Churbog when their time is at an end, and it is those that shall be offered in at least when they invariably pass. To live solemnly in the light of the brother is to neglect the eternity that follows, condemning oneself to the lower echelons of consciousness. Yeah, I'd love to know what's going on in these other branches. I didn't even know they existed. Those with wisdom and foresight do well to embrace the black gift and forfeit a part of oneself in exchange for parts of the many. To drink the black gift is to offer one's life in a bid to be tested of mind and spirit. Should one be deemed worthy, that which is offered will be returned, but with boundless acuity and vigor. Should one's offering fall short, their essence will be given to the black god entirely. Yet, the truer they walk the black path, the more openly their soul shall be welcomed. Before one is to be tested, they must first be expurgated through ritual, else any sense of self is lost upon passing. This ebonness of the soul, providing devotion to the black path and allowing one's essence to find greater connection upon being taken to Chernobog. A ritual must be carried out by followers in the living realm, now sated by the black gift, with followers bringing about a trance of blindness and drowning of the aspirant. Should the aspirant prove resolute through this trial of panic, terror, and asphyxiation, the black gift is offered and the true judgment begins. Nice. Does Chernobog have a brother? And Orthogonal Caster says Belobog or something. Death-life duality? Something like that? Also ends in bog? There is a translation of the Perun one? Okay. But it's another god, which is an important bit. Following interview is with a person from the village named Tosa Koniseza. A woman to believe to be in middle age that is willing to converse when inquired by translator researcher Albin Iskra on the 8th of October 2019. Good morning. And for the record, can you please state your name? Morning. Yes, I am that. Thank you. Do you mind telling us what where you were born and what year? I was born here in 1949, a few years after World War II, so I've been told. I must say, you're looking well for someone who's in their 70s. Now, we're interested in knowing a little bit more about the darkness. Can you tell us anything about the history of the village or what your community does here? What's to say? We keep to ourselves. We've done so for generations. So they have knowledge of what's going on in the outside world, and they still use the same calendar that everyone else uses? We keep to ourselves and done so for generations. The village itself has seen better days, of course. I feel like there was some time where people would travel far and wide to come here. The final stop of a pilgrimage. What do you think that gives you that impression? I don't know. Just feels that way. I can see it in my memory. The way that darkness used to be, but I know it was before my time. The memories must be from dreams that I had at some point, though. I can't honestly be sure. We all feel like that here. Other villages have the same memories, you mean? Others in the village have the same memories. Yes, mostly the elderly, though. Memories or dreams in the darkness and Chernobog. The older you get, the more vivid they seem. What can you tell me about Chernobog? We owe him everything. Were it not for Chernobog, we wouldn't be here, would we? Can you explain? We're fortunate that Chernobog chose us to be his eyes, ears, and minds here in his brother's realm, to help those in need find their way. Should they search, this is why you came to darkness, is it not? Potentially. How exactly do you help people find their way to Chernobog? That depends on how they wish to offer themselves. We're able to guide people so far, you understand. But the end of their journey always walked alone. Sadly, it has been many years since anybody from outside has come seeking our aid. Are you saying that you kill people in order to send them to Chernobog? Kill? Oh, no. Those that come from us want to be respected in the eyes of the Black God. He has little respect for those who are slain. No, those seeking his embrace must give themselves willingly one way or another. All right. And you say that nobody has come to the darkness in quite some time? This is true. Now I think of it, I can't recall anyone coming within my lifetime, but I remember it. I recall times where they would come in the droves. The young and strong would seek the Black Gift, while the elderly and the dying would come for the Black Passage. Can you tell me about those two things, the Black Gift and the Black Passage? Or they're both ways to gain Chernobog's favor. Those that partake in the Black Gift and remain among the living earn the Black God's blessing. Those that choose to take the Black Passage are ready to leave this cycle and return to Chernobog. Have you taken the Black Gift? Yes and no. Like I said, I was born here. Anyone born within the hallowed grounds are blessed from birth. What exactly is that gift that has been given to you? It's hard to say nowadays, but I do note that the Black God watches over me and eagerly awaits my return. I can feel that. There was a time, however, where his gift offered much more. The wisdom, protection, and community. Are you alright? Yeah, sorry, I drifted off there, didn't I? We used to be so much more before they took everything. Someone took something? Oh, don't mind me. I'm sorry. I just need a little fresh air. Of course. We're getting this here for today. Thank you so much for your time. It's quite all right. The rest of the village may be wary of outsiders, but speaking to you reminds me of what life used to be like here. Oh, and there's one thing I've been meaning to ask you. Of course. Fire away. Are you Christian? Oh, no. No, I'm not. Oh, good, good. I see. Testing and experimentation. Samples were gathered of the liquid were gathered from the holes, instances, and transference to Site 120 for testing. SCP, the water was found to contain only hydrogen and oxygen, along with having an entirely neutral pH level despite its pitch black color. It was found to be completely opaque, even in extremely small quantities. In addition to blocking light waves, it appears to block any other form of transverse or longitudinal waves attempting to pass through it, seemingly negating all energy waves that come in contact with it. A series of additional tests were performed on Class D using larger quantities of the water acquired in the darkness. Due to the lack of Class D facilities in 120, a member of Class D was transferred from another nearby site. 5 milliliters were given to a D-class subject's skin. No discernible effect. It was placed into a neck-deep tank. Nothing. Class D subject was instructed to consume 300 milliliters. Appeared to be fine for 7 seconds before wincing, doubling over in pain. Subject complained of an intense cold burning emanating from their stomach. At 15 seconds, the subject could feel the sensation spread throughout the rest of their body. After 22 seconds, the subject's skin and veins began to darken. At 31 seconds, subject's scleria, the whites of your eyes, began to darken. At 39, the subject falls onto the floor and begins adopts a fetal position, and their body twitches violently. The breathing is labored, by 46 seconds, the subject has stopped moving and breathing. Presumed to be dead. At 56 seconds, the subject's corpse continues to darken as it begins to liquefy. At 127 seconds, the corpse has entirely been reduced. The black liquid confirmed to be the liquid from the things. Okay, that's bad. They put a person in there with diving gear and it was fine. Subject was instructed to consume... Wait. Oh, someone from the village was instructed to drink some, and they were fine. Huh. These tests conclude that anyone not born in the town that consumes it will suffer critical organ failure and die within 60 seconds. Okay. I mean, give or take. Ah, this guy was fine. He didn't die until like 2 minutes. 2.5 minutes, give or take. So that's fine. You got slightly, that's like twice as much time. He died at 1 minute? No. At 15 seconds, he started complaining. At 22 seconds, the veins began to darken. At 31 seconds, their eyes started to darken. At 39 seconds, they started falling on the floor and into the fetal position, began twitching. At 46 seconds, they had stopped moving and breathing. Oh, running timer. Right. Yeah, no, it's 56 seconds to die. Right, okay. It's not another time. Okay. Yeah, no, I'm dumb. Listen, we're not going to talk about that, okay? We're not going to talk about that anymore. On October 11th, 2019, researcher Ila Gorska went missing while performing a sanctioned dive into a hole and has not been seen or heard from since. Agent Novak and Bukula were on hand during the incident, assisting a dive supervisor in handling radio communication, respectively. Immediately before the disappearance, audio feed from the dive was captured that supports the theory that it was directly involved and potentially gained sensitive information regarding the SCP Foundation. Transcript goes like this. Due to the nature of the wave absorbing properties, communication between the dive team was performed via transmission line attached to the diver's surface supplied oxygen, umbilical, and safety line. Testing. Are the audio and visual feeds coming through? Affirmative. Ela, you are coming through on the cable. You're good to go. Slow down there. Lowering into the hole now. Sound of whirring machine can be heard passing through the hole threshold now. There should be a substantial drop in... There's a substantial drop in temperature. I can't see anything down here. It's as if my lights aren't even on. Science proceeds for 40 seconds. Splashing water can be heard, followed by auditory submersion. Make contact with the water going under now. Fully submerged. Swimming in it feels no different than normal water. Can't feel anything around me down here. I think I've entered an underwater cavern. Are you able to explore the cavern? I suppose having no visibility makes that very, very difficult, though. Can you track along the roof of the cavern at least? I'll give it a try. So it makes sense. I can't find any roof around where I came in or swing upwards. I've gone well above the entry point now. How far did I go down before making contact with the water? Roughly 20 meters. Yeah, something is not right. I've been raising for more than 20 meters and I haven't reached the surface yet. All right. And you've seen nothing? Affirmative. I may as well have my eyes closed. Hold on. I think I see something. Can you describe it? It's hard to say. It looks like wind, I guess. Like the water is beginning to move below me? Like it's breathing almost. If at any point you feel unsafe, just say we can pull you out. Now I feel unsafe, yes. Research mountain. Okay. Starting to move upward now towards, I think, it's happening in front of me as well. Actually, it's all moving. It's breathing now. I can hear it breathing. Do you need us to pull us out? I can almost hear it. No, I'm not yet. Something is calling out to me down there. I like this. Novak, hit the winch. We're pulling her out. We'll continue this with a Class D. Hello. Oh, hello. How did you... Of course. The Foundation? I don't think I can allow... Who are you talking to? Is someone down there with you? We're pulling you out now. Sound of whirring machinery fires in the background. Something's not right. I can't think straight anymore. I need to come back up. There's so many of them down here. It's overwhelming. What am I doing? Which one am I? Which one? Oh, no. Oh, that's not great. That's a stupid idea. That's real bad. Oof. Can you hear me? What's going on? Yes, hello, I can hear you. What's going on down there? Am I speaking to Maria Bakula? Yeah, it's me. You alright? Yes, I'm fine now. I'm ready to come back to the Foundation. I'm ready to learn some more. Novak, halt the winch. Get the MTF here. Ela, you need to tell me what's happening down there. There's nothing of interest to be found in this abyss. The only knowledge we're seeking is above us. What are you talking about? What knowledge? Who is this? Please send more Foundation, please. I must survive. That's not great. That's how they got information about the SCP. Yep. That was it's maybe a bad idea. Within 13 hours after the researcher went missing, a series of events occurred in the village involving various villagers and Foundation personnel. The requested MTF arrive at the village from Site 120. Researcher Gorsk is confirmed missing when only her driving equipment is retrieved from the hole. A villager approaches one of the members of the Foundation and in Polish inquires about the condition of researcher Ila Gorsic. There's no explanation on how they are aware of them or why they can suddenly speak Polish. Another instance expresses a relief to a Foundation personnel in Polish about 5659 not emerging that year. Super dangerous whole thing. Nope. Evil God? Evil God or something. And that villager is questioned in regards to their knowledge of that, the potential emergence event, but no explanation can be given. The third villager inquires in Polish to a member of the Foundation personnel about the current location of the O5 Council. This is met with extreme suspicion. The villager in question is apprehended and transferred to 120 to be interrogated further. A group of villagers are seen continuously fetching water from the village and transferring it to nearby houses. Members of the MTF intervene and prevent any additional water from being gathered. MTF unit Adam Kowalski fails to report during a routine check-in while searching for the area for signs of researcher Gorska. The remaining MTF begins searching for Kowalski. While raiding a suspicious home of a villager, and dozens of holes were discovered within the building. Symbols matching that of the SCP Foundation's insignia had been etched all around the hole. The building was otherwise found to be empty. That's not good. That's not good at all. The MTF and Foundation's surveillance report dark humanoid figures lurking in heavily shadowed areas around the village. Nothing appears there when light is turned on these areas. Male screams are heard coming from the cemetery. The MTF moves to investigate. MTF arrives at the cemetery as a sweep of the area is performed. A villager appears and attempts to tackle one of the MTF into the hole. In the struggle, the villager falls into the hole. No attempt is made to recover the body. Tremors are briefly felt by all on-site personnel. An indistinguishable sound is coming from one of the houses reported. The MTF move in to investigate. MTF find the house to be barricaded from the inside. Breach charges are used to force the entry. It's a wooden shack. You can't just kick the fucking door in? As the MTF enter the building, they're attacked with a villager wielding a pitchfork. The assailant is quickly neutralized. MTF reports sound of moaning coming from further in the house. They move forward and enter a room occupied by two chanting villagers. Adam Kulolski is on the floor, motionless between them, lying on top of marking etched into the floorboards. The two villagers do not react when instructed by the MTF to cease their activities. Second warning is given when Kulolski begins writhing and muttering. At this, they both the villagers increase the volume of their chanting. They open fire, neutralizing both villagers. After they retrieve Kowalski condition rapidly deteriorates as he begins to thrash and scream wild. You might want to just kill him. Honestly. Fun fact, the W in Kowalski also sounds like a V. It's almost as if this language is consistent. You know, like a language should be in order for people to understand it. The station at the MTF stationed at the building entrance report multiple villagers surrounding them. They gather around the building and report their route to the extraction point blocked by the villagers. The villagers begin to move in unison towards the MTF. Several MTF open fire, killing some number of villagers. All their villagers halt before slowly nodding their heads. The MTF began moving towards the extraction point. Any stationary what? MTF moved towards the extraction point. Any stationary villagers blocking the way as part of the Is that not a complete sentence? Like, what are we doing with that? Any stationary villagers blocking the way as part of the MTF approach. Maybe it means many? I feel like that was a, part is a verb. Oh, part being used as a verb here. They get out of the way as they approach. Yes, okay, got it. I understand now. I was stupid. Yes, okay. The MTF successfully extracts from the darkness as they leave the area. Kowalski's screaming abruptly stops. Kowalski is heard unconsciously muttering about something about the blackness watching him beneath the water. Kowalski then adds that to whatever it is awake and yearns for their secrets before suffering cardiac arrest. Kowalski is pronounced dead. Security footage from within the MTF's vehicle captures Kowalski slowly sitting up, looking around before being noticed by others of the MTF. Kowalski quickly withdraws her sidearm, opens fires, killing 3 of them, wounding the driver, causing the vehicle to sharply swerve and roll before crashing, badly damaging the onboard camera in the process. The driver regains consciousness and begins contacting HQ. A few seconds later, driver's side door is wrenched open. The driver can be heard pleading with Kowalski and asking why before yelling in agony at having been pulled from their seat and dragged away from the vehicle. The driver is heard continuing to plead and groan via their radio feed until Kowalski eventually stops dragging them. The driver asks Kowalski what they're doing. The sound of vomiting and splashing is heard. This is quickly followed by the driver choking and coughing while attempting to ask, "What the fuck are you doing with me? What the fuck are you doing me?" Am I misreading that one, or is that weird? The driver's coughs and wheezes continue until their breath suddenly becomes ragged and abruptly stops. Report conclusion. The response team was immediately dispatched to the site of the crash and were unsuccessful of recovering any of the bodies of the MTF. A large pool of water was discovered in the back of the vehicle, along with the uniforms of 3 of the MTF laying within it. Following the trail of blood from the vehicle and into the roadside forest, the response team discovered pools of blood, vomit, and smaller quantities of water. Neither the driver's body nor the uniform was found. Kowalski was not found. Due to the events and discoveries surrounding the SCP-6198 incident, it is imperative that all Foundation personnel take extreme measures to ensure that the village is unable to acquire any additional sensitive information. I keep reading it as village, but this also could be the god Chernobog, right? They're kind of synonymous in that it lives underneath their village. The lower forests in the surrounding areas is to be continually monitored for any signs of Adam Kowalski. And regular sweeps performed by the designated MTF. In the event that Adam Kowalski is discovered, he is to be contained if possible. However, lethal force is permitted if capture is not an option. The villager that was transferred to Site 120 is to be given regularly interrogated in order to gauge the extent of their knowledge. Fresh water may be administered to them instances in order to better understand how the transfer of information between them and the villagers and the village and the water occurs. Class B and amnestics are to be administered of all. What would that even achieve, man? All villagers not contained within Site 120. Once amnestics have been distributed and their effectiveness in removing the Foundation sensitive information has been confirmed, any subsequent villagers exhibiting knowledge of the Foundation or SCPs are to be apprehended and transferred to Site 120 for containment. So they just give them like drugs to make them forget if they ever think they know anything about the Foundation, and they just really hope that no one drinks it. And finds out. But does the god know? The water itself, does it know? Like, I presume that they drink it fairly regularly. Interesting. I think that's where I'm going to stop for now. I'm going to go ahead and save the rest of these for another time, but I think we have to do NES Godzilla next week. Else I will feel like shit. I think there may not be a god. The water is close. I wonder if Adam Kowalski or whatever his name is was Christian. Random question. Who knows, right? I don't see any new art. I think there might not really be a god. It's a collective consciousness thing. Yeah, that's true. You know what you could do? You could take a Class D Persian, right? Strap him to a chair and force him to watch like hours of Sonic inflation fetish stuff. You take him to the village and you throw him in a hole. Just see what happens. They're gonna be like, what the fuck is going on out there? Literally poison the well. They'll be like, dude, we don't want anything to do with this SCP Foundation. That's all they know. That's all they're about is like weird fucking fetish shit. Like, let's stay here. You know? Because, like, what if you make it just like it's not worth it to go and find out? What if you intentionally fuck with a guy? What if you get a Class D guy that you just fuck with continuously, right? You just like, I don't know, you do weird shit. You do like magic tricks to make him think that the reality doesn't work anymore, right? Just teach him from a young age. Get a Class D that's like a kid. From a young age, just teach him everything wrong. Like gravity doesn't work the way you think it does. Water can only be like consumed through the ass. Just weird shit, right? And you throw that kid in there and just really fuck up this thing. Like make it super fucking confused. Class D are generally thought to be death row inmates. Yeah, I don't know, but you know, do it anyway. You know, just literally poison the well with just like insane theories. Weird shit. And do magic tricks so that way they actually believe it. They see it and they're just like, that's how shit works. I don't know. Abduct a child. I don't know how good the amnestics are. So you got to train a kid from birth to just like completely not understand reality. Like, get the most fucked up, weird person possible. Throw him in the hole. Listen, if it stops the dark god, I think abducting a few children and throwing them in a hole is probably all right. That's stuff the SCP Foundation already does. I'm just saying, that's like a good idea, I think. You know? Make it learn less information by teaching it more. Like, how many people do you think have been thrown in there, like, collectively over time? You just got to throw at least that many people. Flat earthers, dude. Yes. Teach it flat earth theory, unironically. Like, just have like a kindergarten class of children that have no idea what the fuck is happening. Train them aboard, like, I don't know, like in space, so they don't understand gravity. The moon is a star. Fuck yes, let's go. Yes, completely wrong information. This is what I want. Like, make it so that way they have no concept of gravity. Make it so that way they have no concept of anything. Tell them that the Earth is flat, the moon is a star. We rotate around my nuts. Just like piss is stored in the balls. And just like, you know, the most insane shit you can possibly do. And then just throw them in there. And just see. Yeah. Teach them all of this in a fake language. That's like Polish, but worse. Like, make a bad version of Polish and teach it to children and use it to teach them that the world is flat. Make it so that way they basically can't communicate with each other anymore. All right, well, what if you teach them Proto-Slavic, but everything means the opposite of what it normally does? Exactly. Exactly what I'm talking about. Night is day, day is night. Like, they got the words mixed up. And so that way, everyone in the village just becomes increasingly stupid. And they're not aware. See, the thing is, the kids have to not be aware that this is happening to them. Because if they're aware that they're being tricked and lied to, then when you throw them in the hole, the water will know. Yeah. Listen, you gotta get creative with this shit, you know? When you got something that's like an elder god from beyond the, you know, memory of modern man, you gotta round up some kids and teach them wrong and throw them in a hole. Do we even know if it's worth destroying this town? Like, are they actually evil? They seem to like killing people, so that's bad. Maybe they're just chilling? Oh. That seems like it could be a thing. I don't know. Has that been tried? Have we tried throwing children in the hole? All right. Next week, we have to do NES Creepypasta, Godzilla. I've been promising that for a while. I promised it for this week. I didn't do it this week because my throat's killing me now. But tomorrow, Town of Nowhere, Season 2, Episode 2. I've made this so that way you don't have to have seen the previous episode. You don't have to have seen the previous season. The Town of Nowhere Season 2 takes place inside of a resort called The Last Resort. And each episode takes place involving a different person who either works there or is visiting there. And therefore, each person is different, so you don't have to worry about knowing who everyone is or anything like that, right? You just have to know what you currently are doing, and that will be spelled out literally on screen. So, like, everything you need to know will be on screen available to you. The only thing you have to figure out is how to vote, and there's a video for that as well. Don't even worry about orthogonal caster. It's totally fine. That said, you should go and watch the last episode because it's cool. And then the first season was cool as well, but it doesn't directly influence the events of this season much. We haven't gotten to that. Don't worry about it. Anyway, go watch it. It should be good. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Probably won't stream until then, just that way I can save my voice and all that. I'll meet you at 5. It's currently 7:15, so 22 hours or so until then. I'll see you then. Brr.